The next one, winning. A black man and a Jewish man who changed the face of relationships in sports. It was a true partnership, the most authentic partnership perhaps in the history of sports across all categories. As Doc said today, when you talk to Red, all Red wanted to do was talk about Russell. And when you talk to Russell, all he wanted to do was talk about Red. A black man and a Jewish man who shared the same vision, the same mission, the same goal, the same strategy. They only knew one thing: we've got to win. And when we win, we got to win again and again and again and again. And that's our mission in life. That if we win today, we got to win tomorrow. And if we win tomorrow, we got to win the next day. At Nike, we have a saying: there is no finish line. There is no finish line. There's no finish line in your life, there's no finish line in your life, and there's none in yours, and there's none in mine. Every day it's a competition. Every day it's a competition. The competition is not the Miami Heat, the Dallas Mavericks, UCLA, Butler, Duke. The competition is not them. The competition is ourselves. The contest is, can I, George Raveling, get up this morning and work at my full potential? When I show up at work, am I just going to show up, or am I going to perform? The problem today is a lot of people stop working once they get a job. A lot of people stop working once they get a job. LeBron James, he's got the body of a man, but he's a kid. He's a kid. Trapped in a man's body. He's going to make mistakes. He's made mistakes. But he keeps on keeping on. He knows, I got to get up a little earlier in the morning, I go to bed a little later at night. I got to make out a way out of no way. I screwed up. I made a bad decision. So now I got to figure out how to make a way out of no way. Everybody's given up on me. Everybody says I'm foolish. But I believe that his strategy will be historic. It wasn't a strategy that got him in trouble. It was the execution of the strategy. And in the business world, we soon learn that the key point is execution. You'll hear people say, oh, the reason it failed was because it was a bad strategy. Very rarely is it a bad strategy. The execution was bad, not the strategy. The execution was bad. Any offense will work if you get the proper execution. Any defense will work if you get the proper execution. Focus on the execution. So you go across the bottom, equality, Branch Rickey, legend. Phil Knight created a legend in a collaborative manner with Michael Jordan. It wasn't just Nike, it wasn't just Phil, it was Michael, a partnership. You go across the screen and it's a partnership. For Miami to realize their true potential, it'll start coming in bunches once they realize it's a partnership, it's a shared responsibility. I said this in a meeting up at Nike a couple years ago to the people that report to me. We are no longer in the sponsorship business. We are in the partnership business. Sponsorship is nothing more than a transfer of goods, money, and services. It's impersonalization. I want to be in a partnership with someone who shares the same values I do, the same mission I do, the same goals I do, the same strategy. And if we work in a collaborative manner, we will achieve success ultimately. Miami's day's coming. Last week in LA, I had dinner with Dirk, just him and I. And I'll say this with Eric here. I told Dirk, I said, Dirk, I've known you since you're 18 years old. I'm the happy as hell that you won. It doesn't have anything to, I'm not anti-Miami. I know one thing, Miami's day's coming. Dirk's days were numbered. Jason's days are numbered. This is the last roundup of the Cowboys for them. But if you guys think that this thing with Miami is not going to work, y'all crazy. They going to get it right. Our boy's got the toughest job in the country. When he retires from the Heat, Phil Knight ought to hire him at Miami because he'll be ready. He didn't walk through the fires of hell. He'll be ready. He'll be ready. I look at LeBron, and it makes me, people are all down on him right now. I don't know the kid that well. I know him, but I don't hang out with him. At 75, I can't stay out that late. But I tell you this, I remember something Malcolm X said. He said that history is best situated to reward all man's deeds. History is best situated to reward all man's deeds. Translation, history will put things in their proper perspective. Historians will put things in their proper perspective. And I believe that history will treat LeBron kindly. A lot of people came down on Curt Flood, but all these damn people running around there with them fat-ass checks in baseball, every night they should get down on their knees and say, "Dear God, thank you for sending Curt Flood." You see, people forget how they got there. Never forget how you got to where you are. So, for my own guidance, I've got to say to myself, what is it that I'm trying to achieve here this evening? I owe Kevin my absolute best shot. Whether it'll be adequate or not, I don't know. But when I step down from here, I want to feel that I left it all out there on the floor for him. And so my mission is, you can read it up there. At some point we come to a V in the road, and you can go left and you can go right. To the right is the freeway, to the left is the road less traveled. I want to find those of you in here when you came to the fork in the middle of the road that you took the road less traveled. Gandhi took the road less traveled. King took the road less traveled. Branch Rickey took the road less traveled. Phil Knight took the road less traveled. How about the guy who's sitting around with about $63 billion in assets and cash? Steve Jobs. You ever want to read a good book? Go out and buy this book, Inside the Brains of Steve. It's called Inside the Brain of Steve. Hell of a book. You want to know why Apple's dominating technology today? Read this book. You know, they fired him after the 4th year at Apple. And then when the damn thing started crumbling, they ran back and begged him to come back. And he came back, and he made Apple what they are today. People who took the road less traveled. Those are the ones here that I'll have a special connection with. Doc mentioned this, and I got a couple questions I want to ask. Who amongst you would capture yourself as a maverick thinker? Who amongst you would see yourself as a maverick thinker that would dare to do this? That see the world out of a different lens than everybody else does. When everybody else sees chaos, you see opportunity. When everybody else sees chaos, you see opportunity. And you take advantage of it. Who out there has the intestinal fortitude to dare to be great? Because you have to dare to be great. People will tell you they want to be great, but they don't want to do what it takes to be great. You got to have a tough fiber to be great. You gotta step outside the crowd. You can't be part of groupthink. You can't live like everybody else. But at the end of the day, you'll make a hell of a difference in this country and in this world. And that was the last thing I had written down here. Who wants to make a huge difference? Not just in the game of basketball, but in your life, and in the life of other people, the life of your players. You guys that coach, I often wonder, do you really understand the responsibility that you have? The most sacred thing a parent has is their child. It's the most sacred gift a parent has. I say to my son from time to time, parents will do things for the kids that they wouldn't do for themselves. So here you are as a coach, and a parent sends their most prized possession to you. And Eric's encountered in this, just because he don't get any disposition. He's coaching a kid. He looks like a man, but he's a kid. So somebody sent you their kid. And did you hear when they walked away? Were you really listening to what they said when they left them with you? They said, I'm sending you a kid. And when I come back, I want you to give me a man. That's our job. That's our job. Whether we like it or not, we've got an unbelievable responsibility. We have someone else's child that they're asking us to make a man out of. I was reading a book recently, and there was a dialogue in there that caught me. The mother said to the child, she said, son, when are you going to become a man? You know what the child's response was? Hey, Mom, you never taught me how to be a man. You say to a player, you need to be a leader. My response to you, are you teaching them how to be a leader? Are you teaching them how to be a man? That's part of your responsibility too. I'll say this again in my prepared remarks. If a player or an individual does not buy you and your act, I don't give a hell how much you know. I don't care how much X and O and you know. If the player don't buy you and don't buy your act, you will not succeed. Hey, I've been on this earth 75 years. I know where the bumps in the road are. I can help some of y'all avoid them. And I'm telling you, if the player don't buy you and don't buy your act, your ass is in trouble. So I came today to challenge your thinking. God knows there's nothing more I want to achieve today than to challenge the way you think. If what you think can hold up, it ought to be able to hold up to public scrutiny. And you should want it. You should want somebody to test the way you think. Because a lot of times the way we think is not the way life really is. So my intent this evening is to try to get you to think differently, to act and seek excellence. And all your actions, let them transfer into excellence. And always, always ask yourself hundreds of times a day, perhaps the most important three-letter word in the world: why? 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 I don't believe we can ever ask ourselves enough why. Why am I running this offense? Why am I doing this drill? Am I doing this drill just because I learned it from Lefty Giselle when I was assistant? Why am I getting on this kid, humiliating him like this? Why am I taking his dignity away from him? Why? 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 In the solitude of the day, sit around and ask yourself, why? 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 I want you every day to see the world as your classroom. I want you to be different. I want you to be different. If not you, who? If not now, when? If not you, who? If not now, when? That's the question we have to grapple with as we move along the highways and the byways of life. That's what we grapple with. So, the age-old question that man has grappled with from the biblical days to the handheld digital device: who am I? Who am I? That's the question that we grapple with every day, or we should. Who am I? And why am I here? And am I using this vast reservoir of talent that God gave me to do great things? A nun said to me one time, she said, "George, God don't make no failures. People make failures. God put you on earth and programmed you for success, and you turn the dial from success to failure. God don't make no failures." Every one of you in here have a vast reservoir of talent. I want to tell you about a guy, a black guy, 65 years old. A Fortune 500 company comes to him and says, "We want you to be the global sports marketing director. We want you to manage a $180 million budget. We want you to take our company from where they are now and get them to the future first." That guy was me. At 65 years old, when everybody else was retiring, I was stupid enough to think that I could go in and get done what they wanted to get done. what I discovered was my tank was still half full. My tank was still half full. Most of y'all have 3/4 of the tank still full. You're not using all the potential God gave you. You're not challenging yourselves. You think you are. It's just like you tell a player you're not playing hard. He looks like you're a fool. But he doesn't understand his capacity for hard work. And you don't understand your capacity for greatness. 90% of you in here are operating on 3/4 tank. You go home and you go to bed and the gauge is only showing 1/4 empty. Now, goddamn, something's wrong. You go into bed and the tank is showing 1/4 empty. So, when you ask the question, the fundamental question, who am I? I guess you could say you're a coach. But a coach wears many hats on many different days. Sometimes he's a leader, sometimes he's a surrogate parent, sometimes he's a salesman, sometimes he's an answer. At the end of the day, if you're the answer, you're going to be defined by the decisions that you make. I wrote this down. In reality, you're supposed to know what players make players tick. What they want, what they need, and how they're going to get it. And how they're going to get it within a team concept. Let me tell you something. There's a big difference between want and needs. When I used to go in a parent's house to recruit, I would tell them that. A lot of schools want your son, but not every school needs your son. There's a distinct difference between want and need. What a player wants and what he needs, there could be a huge gap between it. And some kind of way you got to get that player to understand that what he wants and what he needs require a separate set of entities. So in a real sense, first and foremost, you're a leader. And as a leader, you have 3 responsibilities. One is to coach. When I took the job at Nike, in the first meeting I had with the people, I got everybody together in a big conference room, and I told them, let's get one thing straight right away. If anybody asks you who your boss is and you said George Raveling, I'm going to be damn pissed off at you, because I am not your boss. I am your coach. You don't need a boss. You need someone, a coach, someone who can give you an offense and an action plan, someone who can take this diverse group and build them into a team. And it'll be a rare day at Nike that I'll ever pass anybody on that campus and anybody calls me George, including Phil Knight. Everybody at Nike calls me coach, because that's what I am. I'm a coach. I know I got to lead. I know I got to be a CEO. I know I got to be a servant to those people that I work with on a daily basis. That's why I got the job, to serve them. It's not. I told them. At the time I was 69. I told him, I said, it's not about me. This is the best thing you got going for you. I'm not trying to get a raise. I'm not trying to get a new job. I don't give a hell about the evaluation. Ain't nothing they can do to me at this stage in my life. It's about you. It's not about me. And let me tell you something. The same is true with you. Whether it's Terry Stotts in the NBA, college coach, a high school coach, it's not about Terry. It's about the players. It's about winning. It's about completing the mission. It's never about you. The best thing all of y'all can do is take your ego, put it in your back pocket, and button it up and leave it there. And then when you sit down, you'll really be doing a good job. So put that ego in your back pocket.